Hey everyone, it's Ben. Hope everyone's doing well and having a nice Friday. Happy Friday to everyone. This is the second video I wanted to do this week, but before I get into the subject matter of what the video is going to be about, I wanted to make a sort of, it was exciting to me. I know it probably seems small to some people, but my subscription rate went past 200 this week, which is amazing to me. I can't believe there's actually that many people that like my videos, but yeah, I'm over 200. I know some people have 10,000 gajillion subscribers, but that means a lot to me. Every person that's subscribed to me, it means a lot that people have subscribed to my channel and are interested in my videos and what I have to say about movies and toys and books and whatever I decide to talk about that given day. But so thank you to everyone who's supported me in the site. Like I said, this was just kind of something I wanted to do with my free time. It's not, but it's nice to be able to talk to people that have some of the same interests that I do, and I like to hear different people's feedback on things. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and yeah, thanks so much. I mean, it just really means a lot to me. Now, the subject of today's video, this is going to be a movie review. Now, I don't do a lot of movie reviews, really, because there's so many people on YouTube that's all they do is talk about movies, and they bash movies and things like that. I don't. I like to talk about movies I do like. I mean, I've done a couple in the past where I've talked about movies I don't like, but they're few and far between. I usually talk about series that I enjoy, that I watch on a regular basis. The movie I'm going to talk about was actually a couple movies, but the main movie I wanted to talk about today is the film Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is from the 80s. Was banned because of its subject matter of Santa Claus, or someone dressed as Santa Claus being a killer, and during the time that this came out, critics and parents groups went after the filmmakers because, it was said to be disturbing for children to see the commercials and things like that, and, it was actually sacrilege to have someone dressed as Santa Claus or Santa Claus be a killer in a film. So, that was typical of the 80s. The slasher movies really got attacked. But when I finally was able to find it, it was discontinued for the longest time, and I could never find it. And I saw it on like eBay or Amazon someplace used for like almost $80, and I was like, I'm not going to spend that much for a movie I haven't even seen. But because of the remake that came out, Silent Night, which just came out, they actually re-released it with the second film in the series. So I got to watch all three of them, and I'd like to share my thoughts with you on what I thought of them. Now, I haven't seen any of the other Silent Night films. I know there's 5 of them, but I've only seen the ones that I got right here. So I'm going to do a quick little review and just talk to you guys about my thoughts. And stay tuned for my reviews, and I hope everyone enjoys them. Thanks a lot. So the original Silent Night, Deadly Night came out in 1984. Robert Brian Wilson as Billy. And it was directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr. It was written by Paul C. Kamey, and the story was by Michael Hickey. Pretty much what the movie deals with, it deals with this little boy who is traumatized at a very young age when his parents are murdered by a man dressed up as Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. Through the beginning of the film, that sets it up, and then he's in an orphanage run by this Mother Superior who completely torments him, and just sort of. He's traumatized, obviously, but the way the orphanage treats him is that, he just needs to get past it and go on with his life, but it's just the way he's treated is horrible, and the Mother Superior woman is just completely evil towards him. So the orphanage, they get him a job when he's 18 at this toy store, and everything seems to be going great at first. He seems to be okay, that he's not the way he was when he was a little boy. He's not freaked out by a Santa Claus anymore. But when he gets the job, it's not Christmas, so everything's cool until it gets closer to Christmas, and then he starts seeing Santa Claus images, and it's really kind of funny in certain scenes when Billy will see them. He just his face changes, and he's freaked out by Santa. And then what pushes him over the edge is when the Santa Claus for the store gets sick, and the store owner asks him to be Santa Claus. And it sort of just triggers something in him, and he goes insane and just starts wiping people out from that point in the movie. Now, I can see why this movie got some of the hate that it did. I mean, it involves children being exposed to you know, gun-toting Santa Clauses, and it's a lot of you know, scenes where children are being treated like pretty horrifically, especially by the Mother Superior character. But you know, it's a very silly movie. It's a very almost black comedy type film, but you know, there are some pretty good gore gags in it, and you know, I mean, it was a fun movie. It's not a movie, I mean, I completely loved. It's not a movie I hated either. I mean, if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it probably a 6 out of 10. I mean, I didn't hate it and I didn't love it, but you know, it was still kind of fun, and it's something I probably will throw in, you know, to watch during the Christmas season, just because it's got a little bit of the macabre and it's kind of got that dark humor to it. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it, and you know, the acting is very campy and very over the top, and the Mother Superior woman is probably one of the best actors in it, but she's very intimidating, and I was actually she was creepy. But the guy that plays Billy, he does a good job too, but he's really kind of, it's just like every time he goes after somebody, he keeps going naughty. It's just like when he goes after somebody that's bad and stuff like that. And there's a couple of cool kills, like the one kill where he kills somebody on like antlers. That's all I'm gonna say. But that was probably one of the better deaths. But yeah, it was fun. Not great, not horrible, but I'm glad I have it and glad I watched it. And it's one of the few slasher films from the 80s I hadn't seen, so glad I picked this one up. Now, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 would come out in 1987. This film was directed by Lee Harry, and it stars Eric Freeman as Ricky Caldwell, who is Billy's younger brother. The movie was written by Lee Harry and Joseph H. Earl, and it was based on the characters created by Michael Hickey and Paul Kamey. So pretty much this movie is about Billy's younger brother Ricky pretty much talking to a psychiatrist about how he became a killer following in his brother's footsteps. If the first movie was complete like a black comedy, this one is really just, the acting in this is so horrible, especially like Eric Freeman, who plays Ricky Caldwell, and then James Newman plays Dr. Henry Bloom, and Elizabeth Caitlin plays Jennifer. Caton plays Jennifer, and she was actually in Friday the 13th, Part 7. I recognized her right away. She played Robin. And everybody in this is pretty bad. It's just one of those movies where the acting is just horrible. But Eric Freeman is so over the top in his performance that when he finally does go psycho, it is like one of the funniest things I've seen. I mean, it's like the movie became, when the movie started, it's pretty much a rehash of the first movie. It's literally like 40 minutes of scenes from the first movie. You really don't have to watch the first movie. You could just watch Part 2 and understand the first movie pretty well, in terms of if you just want to see like how he goes nuts a little bit. But yeah, it's just all stock footage from the first movie. But the funniest part is when Ricky just loses his mind and starts shooting people with this policeman's gun. And he says the line, like a bunch of funny lines, "Well, in his garbage day," and that's like one of the that's a catchphrase that I wasn't even aware of, but people say that, and it's funny as hell in the movie. When I heard it, I started dying laughing. But yeah, this one I actually, you know, it's weird. I actually liked this one a little bit more than the first one because it wasn't so standard slasher. It was kind of just weird. I'd actually give this one probably a 7 out of 10. It's still not a, you know, one of my favorites, but I actually laughed at it so much that it was more of a comedy to me than a horror film. But yeah, I just like the character of Ricky. I think just because he was played so over the top by Eric Freeman. So yeah, this one was kind of fun. But again, you know, I mean, it's just yeah, you can't take it seriously. It's complete, you know, B-movie type. But yeah, it was fun. Okay, now we're on to the 2012 remake, Silent Night. Now this film stars Jamie King as Aubrey Bradymore, Malcolm McDowell as Sheriff Cooper. It was directed by Stephen C. Miller, and Jason Rothwell wrote the screenplay. The film is not at all like the other two films. It is taken, I mean, there are some some goofy kind of B-movie moments in it, but it's a pretty serious film. And I think the genius about this one, at least from my point, is I like the fact that you didn't know who the Killer Santa was. You really have no idea who he is until the very end of the film. I think that was the strength of this film. I liked that he was just this crazy man walking around. I liked also the fact that you couldn't see his face. He cuts out like this mask that he puts over his eyes and his nose, and then with the hat and the beard and everything, you really can't tell who he is. And there is some tremendous gore in this film. There's one scene in particular. It involves a tree trimmer, or a tree like sort of similar to like Fargo, where it's like where the character was shoved into one of those things that cuts up trees and stuff like that. I mean, it is one of the most disturbing scenes I've seen in a horror movie in a long time, but it was really effective and it stayed with me, and I remember that. There's also some homages to scenes from the first movies, particularly the first one. The characters, Jamie King was okay in it. I actually didn't think she was as strong in this movie as she was in Mother's Day or My Bloody Valentine. I don't know what it was. I just didn't latch onto her character as much as I did in the other two films. I thought she was really good in Mother's Day. That's probably one of my favorite movies she's done. Malcolm McDowell was Malcolm McDowell. He was fun in it. Had a good time with him. I like Malcolm McDowell a lot. He played kind of the sleazebag kind of sheriff who's trying to get all the glory for everything, and he's similar to how he played Loomis in Halloween 2 that Rob Zombie did. But I mean, there's some great gore in this. I did feel like the film kind of lagged at the end. I didn't feel like the climax was as strong as it could have been. At the very end, it was cool, but in terms of leading up to the very end, I thought it kind of lagged, where it started really strong and then kind of got weak towards the end. But otherwise, I actually like this one more than the other two. I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. I really liked Silent Night. I think it's a really good remake where it's not just rehashing the first film. It's actually just taking kind of the subject and then making a new story out of it, but adding kind of little touches that harken back to the original. So yeah, good film. I'd recommend picking it up. It was really worth it. I got it pretty reasonably, and yeah, I said there's some really good kills. There's some really good gore moments in it, and if you like gore and you like the 80s slasher movies, this is one for you. So I really recommend it. And in closing, I did take Leslie Vernon out of his box, and there he is right there, hanging out with the other slashers. Just thought I'd show him off because I kept debating whether or not to take him out, but he was too cool to leave in the package. So that's it for today. Again, thanks everyone for subscribing and watching my videos, and I should have something coming soon, another video in the next couple days, maybe even tomorrow. So hope everyone has a nice Friday, take care, and I'll talk to you guys later.